You are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
The number 22 Auburn Tigers are set to take on the number 1 Houston Cougars in Birmingham. Can Auburn pull it out? You are watching the Lobtown pregame show.
The Auburn Express. You are now listening to the War Report Lobtown Podcast. With your boy Iannone.
Yes, it's your boy C-Dub here in place of Ike Jones, who's actually covering the game live. He will be there covering the game today. And yes, the question is this game televised? It will be on ESPN. This is a 2 p.m. Central tip-off against the Houston Cougars on ESPN. Auburn's been tested already. Auburn had in their opening game against Bethune-Cookman, that game went to overtime in which Auburn was able to pull it out. This is a real big test for them as they face the Houston Cougars, who are the number 1 ranked team. And I'm interested to see what happens with this team. This is a team that is still trying to find its way. A lot of new faces on this team, finding some continuity and some chemistry amongst them. It's going to be interesting to see how they look. First early test against the Houston Cougars, who are a scrappy defensive team. We'll talk more about that in a minute. But Houston is favored in this game. They're a 7.5 point favored by 7.5. And the over and under is 140.5. So they're expecting about a 70-70 type game with Houston. Houston is limiting teams. And I got some questions here about this game with Auburn. Houston, although they have not played really anyone, it's kind of early in the season, so you're not expecting these teams to have really big challenges early on. But Houston has played Lehigh, Townsend, and Oakland, and they've won double-digit scores, 75-57 against Lehigh, 65-48 against Townsend, 78-45 against Oakland. They're allowing 50 points a game. So the big question that I have is, how much offense can Auburn generate? If you know anything about Kevin Sampson's teams, they're scrappy teams. They play really good defense, and they like to limit the other team's best player. For Auburn this year, or at least through 3 games, that has been Keyshawn Hall. Keyshawn Hall is averaging 24 points a game, 11 boards. He has been Auburn's offense for the most part, been playing extremely well. Also behind him is Keyshawn Murphy, 17 points, 8 boards a game. Obviously Keyshawn Murphy plays closer to the basket, so he has a much higher field goal percentage. Can those guys get off in this game? Can they get theirs, or will Houston limit them significantly? If they're able to limit Keyshawn Hall, my second question is, can Tahad Pettiford step up in this game? We've known him last year in games to have big games or show up in big games and score a lot. He's been through a bit of a slump. He is shooting through 3 games right at 28%, which is not good from the field. So the second question is, will Tahad Pettiford show up offensively and really give Auburn a lift, taking some of the pressure off of Keyshawn Hall, Keyshawn Murphy, and really provide some of the necessary scoring that we've seen him do over the past few years, or the past year. The third question that I have is, what can we expect from Auburn defensively? Now, against Bethune-Cookman, Auburn, the score went into overtime. Auburn won, but Bethune-Cookman scored about 95 points or 90-plus points. So my question I'm curious about, even though Houston hasn't exploded offensively, even though they've played against inferior competition, is Will this be a defensive battle? Will Auburn play some defense, or will this get into a bit of a shootout against Houston? I'm curious to see how Auburn will play. If I look at some of their stats, I'm going to pull up what Auburn has done against its competition. I mentioned Bethune-Cookman, 95-90. That game went into overtime. But Auburn has been playing pretty well defensively as well. Against Merrimack, they only allowed 57 points. Against Wofford, they only allowed 62 points. So Auburn has been scoring, I mean, in the 90s through 3 games. You have to imagine, even with the over and under, Auburn won't reach that benchmark in this contest against Houston. But it's going to be interesting to see what Auburn does in this game. Going to get to some of you guys' comments. I know you guys are here. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us with the Lobtown podcast. Let's see here. Fuller says YouTube TV is back finally. Yes, ESPN on YouTube TV is back, or the Disney stations, ABC, Disney, and ESPN. Let's see here. Fuller also says need to see if we can play defense. We're going to learn a lot about Auburn in this game, I believe. And I'm curious to see what they look like. It was interesting to see last year in games who was stepping up and who was going to be the guy to show up, and really when Auburn needed a bucket, was able to go get that. Again, I'm curious to see what guys like Tahad Pettiford would do in this game. Again, he's been in a bit of a shooting slump, so hoping he comes out of that, and we'll look to see what he does there. Marshall Jones already has a prediction. He is predicting 72-66 Houston Cougars. I have a question for you guys. If Auburn were to lose this game, what does that mean? Let's say it's a 72-66 type of game. What does that mean for this team? Again, this is a team that has a lot of new faces, a lot of new pieces on this team, and they're learning how to play together. And you saw that at different points. This team is just kind of up and down. One night they look really solid. The next night they look like they're still figuring some things out. Will they play up to the level of the competition, or will they get exposed? That's the big question. But if Auburn is to keep it tight in this game and really push Houston, even have opportunities to take this game, but fall short, to you guys, what does that mean for you? I'm curious to hear your thoughts in the chat. I'm going to get to some more comments here. Will M says AU has to hit shots early and rebound. This has been a concern that Ike Jones has talked about. With Auburn's size against teams that have a presence and are physical in the paint, can Auburn get their fair share of boards? Obviously, if you're getting out rebounded, that doesn't bode well for you down the stretch of a game, especially if you're not getting defensive rebounds and you're allowing Houston to have second and third opportunities to be able to score against you. I'm curious about this as well. Can Auburn rebound effectively against a Houston Cougars team? Again, very physical team. I want to talk about Houston real quick once we get done with some of these comments. Auburn Express is predicting 78-72 Auburn. I like it. I like it. Will M says possessions will be at a premium. Valencia believes that Tahad will go off today. I'm hoping that he does so, Valencia. I'm hoping that he does so. Will M says big game. Tahad needs to show up. He's shown up in big games in the past, so I'm hoping that he will continue. He will continue that streak of showing up in a game like this, because his offense and his scoring will be needed here. Marshall doesn't think that Tahad will show up. P-Pass believes that Hod is going to put up 30. Would love to see it. P-Pass says I have Houston winning 86-82. So a little bit more points put on the board. So you're picking the over on this game with it going into the 80s here. Let's see here. Good to see you here, Riley. Good to see you here. Brad Browning asks, is Jovic the Preston Howard of basketball? Remains to be seen. That's a pretty heavy label there, Brad, but I'm glad to see you here. I'm going to get to some more of your comments. Here, but what I do want to talk about is Auburn defensively. Houston Cougars' leading scorer is Emmanuel Sharp. He's leading the team with 17 points a game. He's one of their guards here. He's shooting 50% from the field, but 40% from beyond the arc. So your two leading scorers are Emmanuel Sharp and Kingston Flemings. Both of them are getting pretty good minutes. They're clearly starters. Kingston Flemings is averaging 15.7 points a game. He's shooting 73% from the field, 42% or 43% from beyond the arc. So Auburn's going to have his work cut out for them on the perimeter in terms of defense, limiting these guys and hopefully taking away their opportunities to sink some threes. Obviously, if you can limit them in doing that, that's going to help you in what I perceive to be a very physical defensive matchup between the Houston Cougars. So those are two of the guys that I'm highlighting in this game. But Houston really has not been lighting teams up offensively, but you do have two guys on the perimeter who can sink some shots. So again, I'm curious to see how Auburn defends the perimeter, and will Houston have to get their points from the interior? I'm curious to see what Stephen Pearl cooks up against the Houston Cougars. I'm gonna get to some more of your comments, guys. Raven Patel says must hit free throws today. I agree. That Auburn has to hit his free in a game like this. You're going to have to get your points however you can get them. And a good way of doing that is by hitting your free throw. So I'm curious to see how Auburn rebounds and how they hit their free, if they do well from the charity stripe. Valencia Jackson says defense will be better because that is all Stephen Pearl has been preaching. We hope to see it in this game. It starts tonight or today in this game. Let's see. SWA or Riley Mother says SWA and Overton have to get more baskets inside while Tahad and Freeman light up the threes. I agree with this. I would agree with this, that I would like to see Sebastian Williams Adams really be a presence on the interior, on the inside. I would like to also see how Murphy plays as well, for sure. So Overton is averaging 10.7 points a game. I'm curious to see how he looks. Alan Brooks says compete, make it close at the end, will only get better. And I think this is kind of the sentiment that I'm asking by you guys is if Auburn is able to show that they're able to hang with the number one team and really give a good effort, a team that's still learning how to play together, finding their rhythm, this has to be a positive, not necessarily a moral victory, but it's a positive sign that this team is showing that they can come together and really be a formidable unit going down the stretch of the season. Will M says Houston is the number one team in the nation, and L isn't bad as long as it's not a blowout. This is what I'm feeling here. I agree with you, Will. As long as Auburn is able to be competitive in this game and really show and prove that, hey, we belong on a big stage with a reputable opponent like Houston, I think that's all you can ask of a team that, again, is learning how to gel and play together, right? And as well, you also have a new coach in Stephen Pearl who's learning how to lead this team. So if you're able to show up in this game, I think it'll be very encouraging. Will M says, how many minutes do we think Murphy will play? He's been averaging 23 minutes a game, so I'm curious to see if he's any close to that. I don't have a list of if anyone's battling injuries or anything of that nature. So I'm hoping he's going to be close to what his averages is if he's not dealing with any injuries here. But he's averaging 23 minutes a game, so it's pretty interesting to see, especially if he's able to stay out of foul trouble if he goes beyond that. Want to hear from you guys. We're not going to be on here too much longer, but want to hear your predictions. Some people have been kind of back and forth. Some people have Houston winning. I think some people have predicted that Auburn will win, but I want to hear from you, your final score. I'm going to be optimistic here since it's the beginning of the year. Houston, all signs should point to the fact that Houston should win this game, but I would like to see if Auburn actually comes out with a hot hand and is able to really generate a lot of offense. I think that they are primed to do so. Again, I think that Kelvin Sampson's Houston squad will have a game plan to limit Auburn, but I'm going to go Auburn. I'm going to go Auburn here with a win over Houston, pulling out a shocker here. Could be wrong. I think Houston probably at this point is the more experienced, seasoned, and better team. But I'm going to go Auburn here for the dub, just because I'm bugging out here. No real logic behind it. Just a slight bug early in the year. You're allowed to bug early in the season. We'll deal with reality as Auburn goes through the season and shows us more of who they are. Let's get to some of your predictions here. Or before we get to that, Chess Walkwell says, are you doing a watch party during the game or coming back at the half? We're going to do a post game. So we're going to watch the entire game, and then I'll come back and do a post game. May even have a guest on to do it with me, or it may just be me. But we're not going to do a watch party here right now. We're just doing watch parties for the football games. But I will jump on at the post game. Valencia Jackson says she has Auburn 85, Houston 80. So will be some offense here. Let's see here. Riley Mobley says, War Damn Eagle, always for my Tigers. Philly in 8 says 72-60 Houston. He has Houston winning. Will M says, get my bug on. I'm getting my bug on today. I'll probably give more realistic takes as we go through the season, as I learn more about this team. WTO 7474 has Auburn 78 to Houston 68, double-digit win. Susan Scales is saying we're going to have to go grab our rogue shot because she has Auburn winning by 1 in this game. That sounds like a very exciting game. William has Auburn winning by 3, 78-75. Anthony Rudd says my biggest thing is our height in this game. Again, great thing to point out here. My concern is how Auburn handles themselves in the interior. Will they be able to generate their fair share of boards? Will they be able to keep Houston off the boards? It's going to be an interesting thing to see there. Philly in 8 says Hall is going to be double teamed the whole time. I think there is a game plan to limit Keyshawn Hall, so I'm curious to see who else steps up in this game. We'll definitely look forward to seeing that. But guys, I'm going to go ahead and get off here. We will come back and watch talk through the post game as we talk about the outcome of this game. Hopefully it's an Auburn win, but enjoy the entire game, everyone, and we will see you in the post game. War Eagle.